I knew in my heart, I knew in my mind, in the whole night, this isn't a man.
And then this thing walks across the road, takes a turn towards us, and then leaps over a guardrail.
Went to look forward, and there was a big black thing, is all I can call it.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, exploring the Bigfoot mystery each week with your hosts, veteran researcher, author, and TV personality, the Squatch detective, Steve Kulls, and from the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky, Chris Bennett. Sit back and buckle up as we bring you guests from around North America discussing the Bigfoot phenomena, but not without a few laughs, too. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, March 21st, 2021. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective Steve Kulls, along with my co-host, Mr. Chris Bennett.
Steve, what's going on? Hey, man, is today the first day of spring or is it tomorrow?
That was yesterday.
What? I missed it. Oh.
Yesterday.
Well, that's okay. As long as we get the warm weather, I'm fine with that. How's things going for you in New York, sir?
Very warm today. I've been in the 50s yesterday, up to 62 today.
Good,
you know, I had to start, that song yesterday. Why did I say yesterday? Now I have that song stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Leprosy. All my skin is falling off of me. Oh, I'm half the man I used to be. Oh, how did I get leprosy? Okay. That's enough of that. Yeah. So we got a heck of a guest tonight. We got Mr. Dale Boswell. Pass it down, Chris.
Dale.
Hello, Dale.
I feel like I'm on Hollywood Squares.
Just like the Brady Bunch,
Yep. Chris is Atlas because he's always in the middle. So anyway, let's do the roll call for our folks that are out there in
the chat is hopping.
Cyberspace there. Hello to B.
Hi, B.
Says, glad you have guest Dale Boswell. Oh
yeah,
and we got
good show.
Hello Prairie Fire. Good
Prairie
to see
Fire.
you.
Welcome.
Quick Witty, howdy y'all.
Hi again, Quick Witty.
Alan, how are you?
Kite.
David Winter, hello.
Hey, Dave.
Ken Parnell, hello Ken.
Welcome, Ken.
No, not a new intro. It's been there. I don't know, maybe the volume. Ammon Chris is out there. Hello, Ammon.
Welcome. Good to see you.
We got Charlie Wonton. Hello there.
Charlie.
Diane is also out there.
Hey, Diane.
Terry's out there. Hello, Terry.
Welcome, Terry.
David Wickham. Hello, David.
David, welcome.
Just a couple of months, I'll be seeing you again. I'll be seeing you. Bob Lemley. Hello.
Hey, Bob.
And of course, we got Carrie out there. Hello.
Hi, Carrie. Welcome.
Suzanne's out there. Good old
Suzanne. Yay. Miriam.
Miriam is out there.
Welcome.
Walt and little Walter out there.
Hi, Walt. Big Walt, little Walt. Welcome,
Of course,
guys.
what night is complete without Sherry?
Hey, Sherry.
So here we are. That's the check-ins so far. They're coming across the board, both from good old Facebook and the YouTube. So, like I said, look who else showed up. We got Mike. Hello, Michael.
Hey, Tack. What's going on, man?
So we got a heck of a show tonight with Mr. Dale Boswell. But just for fun tonight, we're going to play the drone video for a little bit. That was so tonight was the launch of Squatch Detective Air. A little bit bouncy, a little bit shaky. Quickly asked if we're nope. I'm going to Kentucky expedition. But just for fun today, we launched Squatch Detective Air. And as you can see, there it is going up. I'll kind of mute that down, bring that down a little bit. But so that just went up today. It's streaming very oddly. I don't know why it's streaming that way.
Pretty big file. That might be it.
No, it was streaming. It was streaming before we cast pretty well. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why it's seems to be skipping. I hope that doesn't do that for the other videos, because the other videos are very important tonight. Maybe it's because I have a bunch of other files loaded in this. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, the actual video is pretty smooth. I don't know why this is skipping around. It's like buffering. So, but yep, we had and it's also getting very pixelated, which it wasn't either. So,
I can't wait. I hope you bring that thing to Kentucky, man. I want to put an AK-47 on it.
I've said he bought a drone that lasted a whole 45 minutes. Now hangs in a tree 50 foot up in the air.
Oh, Bob.
Well, I'm smart. I know. Yeah, drinking and flying. I am really lucky. I kind of put some parameters on it, so I couldn't fly it too far. It was its maiden voyage today. Yeah. And the cool thing is I got one with a, return to home function and then an auto land. Yeah. So I have an auto takeoff, which will take it off up to 5 feet. It'll hang there for a minute until I take over controls, and it'll land. Once I get it over home and land it. Good Lord, I don't want to hit the auto land. That's my only fear is hitting the auto land when it's way out. Oh, I didn't mean to hit the auto land. But the other cool thing is it lands very slowly. And I can actually, I still have pilot control over the auto landing, so I can still move it. I can still move it a bit. But I was really shocked at, for the price I paid for this drone, the quality of the pictures. Again, what is this going to be used for? Primarily is going to be used for, just landscape detection. Get up there, take a look at the terrain real quick. It's not going to be used to try to run down a Bigfoot. But everything seemed to work fine. Dave said he had a GPS drone, but the phone wouldn't work right. That's believe it or not, it doesn't. Yeah, I mean GPS can be a little sketchy at best in certain places.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like if you get a lot of cloud cover, sometimes you don't lose your signal and stuff.
Yeah, see,
I don't stationary,
know why, I don't know why this is so skippy.
It's probably the streams doing it.
Yeah,
it wasn't like that a while ago. Yeah, that's pretty neat.
I mean, Oh,
that's cool.
Hang on, there it is. Here she is coming down. No, quick witty. This is actually a Holy Stone drone. The name of the company is Holy Stone, and it's not that expensive. It's under $200, and it claimed it has 2K video, and the video is pretty crisp. And there she is coming back home.
Yeah,
that jumped. So,
new toy. Looks cool. I like it.
So, yep. So, yeah, you know, you can't hurt getting a GPS drone, at least when you fly it in areas that you can get a good GPS fix.
Yeah.
And actually, you should have no problem getting a GPS fix with your phone. It's just the Google mapping that may, but this doesn't work on Google Maps. So, got to excuse me, I have a touch of bronchitis coming on the last couple of days. So,
well, yeah, about anything to use it requires a cell phone signal sometimes. If you're using like Google Maps or something, then yeah, you're gonna have a problem.
well, this connects to the phone via the Wi-Fi. So, you know, as long as I keep my Wi-Fi button on, it communicates using the Wi-Fi signal. The drone has an antenna. You sync the Wi-Fi and up it goes, and we play with it for a little bit.
Very cool.
So, I agree. It's got lots of uses. Spy the neighbors, you know, get the mail.
Don't watch your neighbor lay out in a bikini, Steve. Don't do that. Oh man.
So, yep. Okay. So anyway, who is this guy we have downstairs here, Mr. Dale Boswell? And just so you know, Dale is a musician, and here is oh yeah, and Bob just said a lot of the newer, smaller drones you use for your phone video screen. Yes, that's exactly what it is. I put my phone into the controller, and it actually transmits the screen of the camera to my phone. So as I'm flying, I can actually have a heads-up display, like real person view, where it is. So, and surprisingly, the transmission of the video to the phone was really, really sharp as well. So, no complaints. No complaints.
This is cool. As technology advances, the Bigfoot mystery is closer to being solved.
And my credit card bills advanced too.
Yeah, yeah, those advanced too. Yeah.
Yes. So, so we got Dale. We're gonna Dale, with your permission, we're gonna play your cool music video. So
Sure. Go ahead.
Hang on, we're having all sorts of difficulty with video tonight.
Out in the woods where nobody goes, one big foot, 5 big toes. We're Bigfoot. You're Bigfoot. I'm Bigfoot. We're Bigfoot. I'm Bigfoot.
There you have it.
That was just a little something I was playing with, old novelty song.
All righty. So, Dale, I guess let's tell us about yourself. What started you in the business? The good, the bad, the ugly. It doesn't matter. But I assume you had a long interest in the Bigfoot. So
I have.
So-
And my story is pretty much like a lot of other folks. I've started, in search of days and reading the National Enquirer. My mom used to buy one actually, and we loved them, reading all the stories about the Bigfoots and aliens and that, and reading everything I get my hands on, like everyone else. And it wasn't up until 2011. I had some surgery on my neck, and I had to. It put me out in the music business for a couple of years, and it was that time when I really got into the Bigfoot phenomenon, as far as researching, looking at everything, reading everything, YouTube everything I could see, studying it, and talking to people. And so, about 2013 or 2014 is actually when I realized that those critters were in my neighborhood. And like a lot of people, I just figured, well, they're mainly out on the West Coast somewhere, until I got to digging a little deeper. But in 2014, my daughter had a sighting in my front yard, and it's on my YouTube channel. I documented it. I think it's called a white Bigfoot sighting in Alabama, something like that you can see it. But it was a white one. And happened in 2014. Yeah, it was very It was very unique because she's one of these people that had no interest in UFOs and Bigfoots whatsoever, and still don't. Could care less for them. But the story how that goes is that day I took a piece of plywood. That was a standard piece, 8 foot tall and 4 feet wide. And being a graphics artist and illustrator, I was able to scale up, what a Bigfoot supposedly looks like. And it was about that size, 8 feet tall and 4 feet wide. So I had painted the front part of it black, solid black, and I laid it up against my carport. I just kind of leaned up there, and I was going to paint the other side of the next thing. Well, it was laying against my carport. It's kind of facing. But anyway, later on that night, my daughter had walked out onto the front porch about 2:30 in the morning, prime booger time, and she looked over and saw something. But the next morning, I was taking her to a doctor's appointment, and before I could get out of the driveway, she stopped me. She said, "Let me ask you," "do we have polar bears in Alabama?" And I'm like, not that I know of, But she went to tell me about it, and that's the first thing she thought about was polar bear. She said it was big, of course, and it was standing straight up. She said it was white, or kind of a dirty white color, and the way she described it, she said it was looking at that thing you built, And I thought, well, that's odd, But I have heard that they're very curious and territorial, So that's why I call it my Bigfoot decoy. I think, well, maybe they were in the bushes somewhere and seen that and said, "Hey, who's that in my neighborhood? Let me go investigate." But anyway, she said it was white. And she said its hair. She didn't say fur. She said its hair was long, and she referred it to. She said, "You ever seen one of those dogs that just got real like Afghan or something? It's got real pretty long hair." She said it looked like that, and asked her, "Well, was it white? Was he white all over?" And she said, "Well, up to about its knees." She said, "From there down, it's kind of orange color." And you ever seen a Labrador or a blonde Cocker Spaniel or something that kind of gets in the mud and dirt, and how that blonde kind of turned oranges. Yeah, that's what she said it looked like. But this was the real kicker, because back then wasn't many people talking about this. But what she told me back then, that she would have had to see it to know that. But she said, and the way it moved, she said there was no sound. She said it did like this, and it was gone. She said, and she would use the word gliding, like on skates or something. She said it was just gone, And but that was the first time I heard or had a clue that could be in my neighborhood. But boy, I couldn't wait to get home from the doctor's appointment, because I went straight in them woods, around my house. And man, I found, the tree structures and bends and things like that I've been seeing on these videos I've been watching. And I'm like, oh wow, look at that, right in my backyard. So that kind of kick started.
Did you inspect your cutout that you made?
I did. It was okay.
It didn't like pee on it or anything like that.
I don't think so.
Not for territorial purposes, but what comes to mind is History of the World Part 1. With the creation of art came the first art critic.
That's possible. That's very possible. And I still have that thing. Matter of fact, it's a nailed to the front of my house right now.
Well, a few more folks came in. Aaron came in. He's running a little late. We'll
welcome.
And
good to have you, Aaron.
And Sarah's in the house. Hello, Sarah.
That's Sarah.
So, all right, let's fast forward to what So, you have stuff going on your property,
right?
Correct.
Right, and it was 2018 when I really started, really accumulating some. I call it proof of evidence. And I'm sure you know what that is, proof of evidence.
So,
you can prove there's evidence, but you can't prove.
So how did that all start, though? I mean, what did you start to notice at first? And like, hey, I think I got a couple of boogers on the property. What's going on?
Well, besides my daughter seeing the white booger in the front yard, I found some some of the tree structures, some of the X's, some of the asterisk symbols type things like that. That's what's contributed to these things. Like I say, we don't know for sure, but that's what I had been seeing at the time. But in like I say, 2017, I started researching a little bit, and I actually had the opportunity to go to New Mexico on what we call a Bigfoot tour. It was a Brenda Harris conference, matter of fact.
Mhm.
We went to her home. I heard you talking about that earlier.
She's very interesting.
On another podcast or something. She's a real sweet lady. So we went with her and ended up going up on about 8,000 feet in a mountain, on the mountain there with her and some friends, Mark Newble and Dan Ricky and some other people.
Would she take you up to the Lucachukais?
I don't remember exactly what the name of the mountain was, what the name of it was.
No, there's either the Chuskas, the Lucachukais, or the Carritos.
Oh, Lord. I couldn't pronounce them anyway.
But yeah, Brenda's been on the show, and I've met Brenda too. Great person.
She's a sweetheart.
Yep.
But that was fun. My daughter went with me, and we may I think she may have captured the booger on a thermal camera. It sure looks like a person standing there, and wasn't nobody supposed to be up there besides us. And I think Mark Newble was using the photograph on his presentations once in a while. Yep. But that's 2017. 2018, I got back home and was searching, and I started out there. There's a road up above my house, and it's called Wild Man Bottom Road. And people name roads for a reason a lot of time, whether it's just for the whoever lived there first or the neighbor or something, or something. So I'm wondering, why is this called Wild Man Bottom Road?
Yeah,
a bunch of naked guys running around or what, So but it went way back in the woods, real hilly, and over creeks and stuff, little bridges, and my little 4-wheel drive truck, just get all back up in there.
Yeah.
But there's this bridge in particular where I would park at, and do my little boogering at night and go and do a little hooping and hollering, which I can't really hit the high notes when you do a whoop, because from my surgery I had in 2011, it took my falsetto away, and put my voice like an octave lower than it used to be. So I had to change a lot of my music to an octave lower and do songs that I could do now. But so I could never hit those notes. So and I'd be doing something like, ooh, and I'm like, damn, I'm gonna piss them off or something, excuse me, but I didn't want to aggravate them or anything like that. So one night my uncle come up from Daytona, Florida, and he's really interested, and he said let's go Bigfoot and take me out tonight. So I said, that'd be fun. And so I took him and my son-in-law, and we went to this place, to Wild Man Bottom Road. And like I said, I've been out there several times, and I've hooped and hollered, and never really got anything to talk about. Besides, it just looks really squatchy out there. And anyway, we got there. It's like 1:30 in the morning, and I told Jim, my son-in-law, he's got a real high voice. I said, dude, I want you to holler just as loud and as long as you can do it, and he did. And man, about 20 seconds later, it sounded like the woods come on fire. I mean, it just woke up, just critters everywhere. There's a mixture of all kinds of things apparently, and we believe there's some Sasquatch in there. And I say that is my good friend Christopher Noel. I got my Chris Noel hat on today. But he had it analyzed with some friends of his that does the audio linguistics or ever how that was about a 3-syllable word. I almost said that. But anyway, and you may know him. I guess it's Malaga, something with an M. The name of the guy, I can't remember his name. But he's kind of very popular in Bigfoot community as far as doing audio analysis things. But he checked it. He looked at it real deep and said there's probably some boogers in there because it's got the ooh-ahs, it's got the range of things that humans can't make, you know, and that's I was really excited to make that catch. But that was in June of 2018. Now, if you want me to back you up and kind of hit all my little encounters, I've only had one where I've actually saw something with my own eyes, but I filmed some things, you know, that I didn't see till later, you know, looking at the film, you know. But
there it is.
Oh,
Monongahela, I believe, or Monongahela.
That's it. See,
Monongahela.
Yeah. Now, how in the world you expect old country boy like me to say that name? You know? but anyway, yeah, he's the one.
Right.
But anyway, back in this was in May of 2018. I had walked out onto my back porch about 9:30 in the morning, drinking a cup of coffee, and I saw a beautiful red fox in the field behind my house. So I grabbed my camera, you know, I said, I'm gonna do me a little National Geographic video here and see if I can, you know, follow him and get him on film. So like I said, I've been out these woods many times, and I've never been sneaky when I go back there, you know, because you're not going to sneak up on these critters, you know, because it just think, I mean, it has happened, you know, because people has come up on them, and then they turn and look like, you know, what you doing here? What you doing here? So it does happen.
Yeah.
For the most part, it don't. So anyway, this particular time I was being sneaky, you know, just being real quiet. And this may have had something to do with it. I don't know. But I followed the fox I lost him. He took off up a trail just right on the other side of my neighbor's property, which is it's fenced and it's leashed off for hunting and things like that. And it's private property, so I don't go there back there, you know, too often. But I stopped. I lost. Took off a trail. So being a beautiful morning, like I say, a sunny morning, I stopped right there by the fence, and I actually put my phone in my pocket and crossed my arms, was standing there looking at what a beautiful day it was. And I saw, you know, you could see that the sun was coming down on a sunlit trail. Just like it looked like a movie, you know, just like the sun was following the trail. And I happened to look over that way and from the left side. And I describe it like this, as fast as was. If you turn your eyes to the left and move them as slow as you can all the way to the right, ever how many seconds that is, that's how long I saw this. And it come out from the left. It was very fast, and it was solid black, and it was at least man size. It was probably about 150 feet away. I'm not real good to judge at distance, but I would guess something like that. So I couldn't really make out details other than a black solid profile. And the weird thing about it is it was leaned forward at about a 15 or 20 degree angle, much like a skier would be, you know, going downhill.
Mm-hmm.
But the head or the hair, or whatever it was tilted way back. I mean, it looked really odd, you know. And it was, like I say, it was moving faster than any critter on two legs is supposed to go, as far as I know.
Right.
And again, you know, like we talked about, the thing was gliding. It was gliding through the woods. And I describe it like this. If you ever watch a movie, and maybe that they're showing at the end you know, how the movie is made, and you see where they may put rails out somewhere and put a camera on rails, you know, all over rough terrain, you'll just get smooth footage.
Right.
You'd have thought there was a dang rail out there in the woods, and this thing was on that rail. That's how smooth it was. I just don't understand that, but that's the way it was. And like I say, it was gone, and I don't know whether it was after that fox or what, but it went off in the same direction as the fox was going. So you know, that's what I maybe theorized, that it wouldn't pay as much attention to me because maybe it just seen that fox and took off of that fox when that fox took off running. Yeah. But now the weird part of this, and it even wears me out to talk about it, but it happened. But all of a sudden, I got I think they call it zapped. From what I could read, zapped. I don't know. I've read up on some of this stuff. But what happened? I felt like all the blood went. I wasn't scared to start with. The thing didn't scare me at all. I was, and I wasn't really. I guess I was excited a little bit. Say, oh, there goes one. But the blood went to my face. I felt like I was. I actually felt like I was going to cry. I felt like I was going to pass out. I was hyperventilating, and I couldn't figure out why. And the only thing I could think of, and it's because I've always documented everything, even in the music business, everything I've done, everywhere I've been. If I had a camera, I was going to document it. That's why I can show you even photos of people like me and Ernest Tubb. I mean, go way back. But anyway, I pulled out my camera. And I remember this the actual footage is actually on my YouTube site, and I put it there, just to sort of be there, not to show people that much, but just so I'll have it there documented in case something gets lost, whatever, it'll be there. But it's I couldn't make sense out of my camera. I wasn't sure if I couldn't figure out how to cut it on, get my camera app up and stuff, and it was just weirdest feeling, but I eventually did and got it up just long enough to tell what happened, what I seen.
Right.
Then I knew right then, I said, okay, I got to go back to the house. And like I say, it was in basically my backyard. My house was in distance. I could see my house, through the woods, but it looked like it was 100 miles away at that time.
Right.
My wife is a nurse, a retired nurse, so I thought, okay, do I need to call Robin, or do I call 911? Am I having a heart attack or what? And I thought, well, if I call 911, that ain't gonna turn out too well. I ain't no telling where I end up. There when I tell them what happened. What's going on. So I just instinctively called a good friend of mine that I had been chatting with, and he's pretty well known in the Bigfoot community. He's not doing too well health wise now, and I won't say his name, because he's never been one to be public. People know him, and I called him, excuse me, and he basically just talked me out of the woods. Basically, Dale, keep breathing, just keep talking a little bit, but breathe, keep focused. And I stumbled out of the woods, stumbled into the door. My wife thought I was having a heart attack, but she immediately noticed it was a panic or anxiety attack or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I eventually calmed down. Felt pretty good.
Well, Dale, I know it's been a while, but if you can think back, immediately after you had that sighting, you were having a little trouble, getting your camera going and everything. Would it be fair to say you were experiencing some confusion or
definitely
like lightheadedness or something?
Definitely.
Now, that was the first time you actually saw one.
Yeah, it's the only time I've ever seen one, actually, with my own eyes.
Yeah, and I know people like to call it zapping, but to me, it sounds like just a normal reaction.
Anxiety attack, I guess.
Yeah, that understand that even though you may believe in them, now you really believe them, because there's one.
There it is.
It makes a lot of sense, true.
And you can short circuit. Sounds like to me, it's just post-traumatic stress. It's just a very shortened. It's not a long-term thing. But in the short term,
crazy. Yeah. I never experienced it before that and haven't since. But later on that day, and I call this a part of my proof of evidence, is I just happened to have a doctor's appointment scheduled that evening. And like I say, after a while, I felt okay, felt normal, kind of excited, like, all right, I ain't seen a booger out there, So anyway, I went to my doctor's appointment, and they took my temperature, blood pressure, done all that. But when she took my blood pressure, she took it again. Then she stopped, she looked up, she said, Mr. Boswell, I said, are you feeling okay? And I said, well, I'm feeling pretty good. She said, your blood pressure has never been this high. I thought to myself, like, well, I ain't never seen a booger before, But anyway, I eventually told her, what went on, and being in old country town, we talked to our doctors, and a lot of my doctors and medical people, they're into the Bigfoot thing, like a lot of people. So they were like, wow, that's crazy. So anyway, it went on my medical records as patient claims to have seen a Bigfoot. So I'm medically documented now. Wherever it takes me, I don't know, but it's
here comes the guy with the Bigfoot sighting.
Oh man!
Excuse me, sir.
That was May the 2nd.
Yeah. Excuse me, sir. Take your Thorazine at the door, please. And
Well, I'll tell you what, Dale said something that really intrigued me, Steve, but because when he described, he'd seen it moving downhill. A very good, one of my best friends from childhood, John Gray, had seen one, and it was moving downhill. He described it the same way, as the movement was like it was gliding.
yeah,
There was not the normally if you see an animal or a person moving, walking, you see the head bumping up and down when they're walking. And John described, said no, it was completely level and just like it was gliding down. So
well,
that's
this was
intriguing.
basically on level ground.
Mhm.
That's why it looked so weird, like a skier going downhill, but it was
Right,
on level
right.
ground.
now I just want
And now I did look up. My first instinct was think, okay, could this have been a shadow going through the tree? So I looked up and
Right.
didn't see any planes or birds or anything. But then I thought, well, this was going through. It was solid. It was going in and out like a shadow would fall in and out of the tree. I said, no, it was solid, whatever it was.
Right.
so anyway, little quick housekeeping here. I'll throw a shout out to Edward. Hello, Ed.
Ed, welcome.
And Mark Mills in the house. Hello, Mark. Howdy.
Mark.
John Swan is in the house too. Asked new seat or new background.
Hey,
No,
John.
I'm just new green screen. So I actually experimented with one a few months back. It worked okay. Now I got the real thing and studio lights and everything. That's why a new camera. That's why it looked a lot crisper.
Yeah.
And everybody seems to think you have a green screen too. It does. It looks like a picture perfect background there that you're in, Chris.
Well, yeah, that's my green screen.
Yep. And Low Rider asked a question. We're going to be getting to that portion much later on in the show. I don't want that particular thing to dominate what we're talking about tonight because that's old news and bad news. Quick Witty also said, cool background, Steve, much nicer than Todd Standing's closet where he does his shows.
Oh, come on, guys. Let's don't throw rocks now. Come on.
Yeah.
Dale had said a lot of things.
I think Bob I think Bob's saying is that why you're maybe it's is that why it's on Pornhub? Your background, Chris.
Oh man.
We run a family show here.
Family show, that's right.
Most of the time. PG-13.
But now something else that Dale said that really intrigued me was when he was talking about his daughter's sighting. She, said they reminded her of a polar bear, which that brings me back to Uncle David's sighting here in Kentucky.
Well, let's if we got a few minutes, Dale. Chris has been requested for the last couple of weeks to tell his story about his uncle.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I don't want to catch any crap for you not telling this story this week, Chris. Love you, but hey, I'm getting called on the carpet, and that's fine. So
that's originally what got me interested in Sasquatch Bigfoot. When I was a young kid, my grandfather would tell me just interesting stories, of things that happened to family members and people he knew. And he was an honest man. If hopefully, it was my plan to, if I could be half as honest as he was, I would be, one of the most honest people you would meet. But anyway, this happened to his brother in Cumberland County, Kentucky. And it was my great uncle, David Turner. And David at that time, and I'm not sure of the back because, this was told to me in the early 1970s. And I'm not sure if it was the late 30s or 40s, but sometime around in that area. At this point in time, not everybody had a car in that area. And they lived back about 4 miles up the holler, which, we call a holler is a valley here, valley between two hills. And there's usually a creek or a branch that runs along the hollow,
For those in the Northeast?
Yeah. So anyway, Uncle David lived about 4 miles from the main road back one of these hollows. And the road they had was the branch. The creek bed itself was the road. And at that time, man, it was still common. People were using horses and wagons, okay, to travel at that time. And although people had cars too. Well, anyway, David's buddy had a car. And so like on Saturday nights, he would walk the 4 miles up the branch to get to the main road. And he would catch a ride into Burkesville with his buddy. And they would go watch the movies and go see a show. And his buddy would not drive his car through the creek, so David had to walk it. And I don't blame him. It was rough. I don't see how they did it. But anyway, one Saturday night, Friday night, his buddy let him off there at the main road, and David started across. You had to walk across one large creek, was around 80 to 100 feet wide, and then you get to the branch, was maybe 8 or 10 feet wide, and he would follow that to the home. And David crossed this large creek, and there was a large tree sitting there on the creek bank, and had where the water had washed the roots. You could see some of the roots were exposed. Well, a solid white creature standing on 2 legs stepped out from behind that big tree and grabbed him and picked him up off the ground. And David said when he got lifted up, he looked, and there were, Granddad said that David told him when he looked after he got lifted up off the ground, there were 2 more that came from behind the tree.
I sure hope he was wearing brown pants.
Yeah, there was a smaller one, which would be like a juvenile, and then there was a little larger one, which he thought, I don't know, it could have been the female. I'm not certain, but there were 2 smaller ones. The big one got David. They picked him up, and he fought with it, and it was squeezing the breath out of him. He was about to pass out. Somehow or another, he got loose, and he ran the rest of the 4 miles back to the house. And as far as he described it, go ahead, Steve.
He was just trying to give him a hug.
Mm-hmm. Well, at that time, nobody heard of Bigfoot, Sasquatch. This was way before Patterson-Gimlin, and David did not understand what happened to him and what had got a hold of him, what he had seen. So the only thing he could tell people was that he thought, since it picked him up and squeezed him like in a bear hug, he thought they might have been polar bears. And of course, you know how everybody in the area will be like, okay, yeah, so David seeing polar bears, that's not good. But from then on, though, the moral of that story was, from then on, he would take a pistol with him and he would stick that under the roots of that tree at the creek. And when his buddy would let him off, he would make sure that his buddy shined the lights on the tree until he could get over there and retrieve that pistol. And then he would walk home. But that was the encounter of David Turner, and that was my granddad's brother, be my great uncle.
And thank you, Dale, for letting Chris tell that story. I was afraid I was going to get the switch this week if I didn't know that.
Oh no, that's a great story, man. Thanks for telling that.
That's what really got me interested in Bigfooting, and especially since this was supposed to be a white one or white group. And when you described that your daughter had described it, maybe a polar bear or something, that's exactly the way that David had described it. Because that was the only reference he had. He knew that it picked him up, it hugged him, squeezed him, and he thought it got him in a bear hug, so must have been a bear. Only kind of bear that he knew of that was white must be polar bear.
Wow. I get a lot of reports. People will stop me in the store, especially a lot of Dollar General stores, for some reason. And they'll say, sometimes they'll say, "Are you that singing Bigfoot guy?" I'm like, "Well, I guess so. That could be me, And they would, of course, I'm just sure you run into people like that. And they say, "Are you serious about this?" And I say, "Yeah." And they said, "Well, let me tell you what I saw." and several times it would be a white Bigfoot or a white creature. And I'm like, man, that's in Alabama. And I think there's actually some people refer to them as the white thing, THANG.
Yeah.
I've heard it referred to as that, but it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, I believe the Fort Worth monster was a white Bigfoot. So very, it happens and not unusual.
It's the news, the reports from Eastern Kentucky are prevalent. They do have a lot more white creatures reported or cited over around the Cumberland County area, because that area over there is pretty hilly, and you can get lost in there. You can get lost and not find your way out. But I can't remember the name of the book, but when I was a kid, I read a book about a guy that was doing a study on a group of white Bigfoots, whatever you want to call them, and over in that area of Kentucky. And I need to dig that up again.
My dad's people are from Kentucky, and we used to visit quite a bit when I was a kid. And I still picture riding up and down those hills, where you meet yourself around the corner. But,
Oh, I'm sorry. The bronchitis was just hitting me for a second there. It's I'm actually dealing right now with a case. It's on the Vermont border, and this guy's had some activity the last few years. He was out fishing with a buddy, and something had thrown a large boulder or rock into the water near their boat.
Yeah.
He's heard some vocalizations that he can't explain. He's heard some tree knocking, and apparently he returned to his camp this year where it is, and something had torn the door off his RV. From the bottom, from the looks of the pictures. I got the pictures, and there was a trackway in the snow leading away from the trailer, leading away from the RV, going back into the woods. And he said nothing was disturbed in the trailer. Something just came along and, pulled the door off, probably took a peek around, and that sounds very familiar because
deja vu.
That same thing happened to Chris.
We had a rental, I'm going to say mobile home. It's a nicer word. Here in Kentucky, my parents owned it, and it had sat empty for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 months. And I went over there to check the properties, and the back door had been broken into. But it would look kind of odd because the back door, it had glass, and the glass was broken in from the outside because all the glass was laying in the hallway floor of the mobile home. And then the door was warped and the frame was pulled out. It's like somebody had busted the glass, grabbed the door, and just ripped the door open and pulled the frame out of the wall, And of course, because, it's insured property, we had to have a state police report on it. And the state police trooper came out and done the investigation. And me and him were both scratching our head. He said, I can't figure this out. He said, obviously they were outside and they broke the window to gain entry. He said, why didn't they just go ahead and just reach in and open the doorknob and open the door rather than, he said, I can't imagine the strength it took to pull that out of the wall. But there it is.
Wow. That's amazing, man.
Is it Bigfoot related? Well, I don't know.
Somewhere I have that picture of me pointing out the damage.
Yeah.
And what I find interesting is that the staircase was not there.
Mm-hmm. Right. There were no stairs.
So whatever, obviously it's going to kind of hard if you're pulling up here like this to where the doorknob was and the glass was even higher above that.
Yes.
You're trying to, it makes no sense. You have no leverage on the door. I mean, if it was
somebody had to be pretty tall. Whoever it was.
Yeah, it was.
Or what?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is, it could have been somebody that brought a ladder. But then again, there's no footing marks. I think we looked for that too.
Yeah, that was the thing. I didn't find any tracks around there, but no boot tracks either, but no footprints. But it's just something interesting. And that property on the home farm It's always it's not something that occurs every day. Like they're not routinely there, but maybe during the early spring, late spring, and then early fall, late fall, they seem to be moving around that waterway that runs through there.
And it was because of that. That's how I met Chris.
Yeah. That's first day, man. Steve, man,
Yep.
sure was,
Yep.
bro.
That's awesome, man.
So, but yeah, it's a never. So let's talk about a couple of your videos. Let's talk about the face video first. You set us up for this.
This just come about a couple of weeks ago, even though it was filmed again in 2018. I think I'm gonna do a little short documentary and call 2018 the year of the backyard monsters or something, because so much happened that year.
Yeah.
I had been a couple of weeks ago. I was looking at some old files on my computer, and it's old PC, so I was trying to speed it up a little bit and delete some things. And like I mentioned earlier, I document everything. So I've got so many videos and photos, and no telling what's in there that I missed, especially after I found this. But anyway, this one particular video, it was just glass in it. It just was dark, but I could hear something. I thought, well, let me see what this was. So I listened to it, and I remembered it then. I said, okay, I remember that. And we were eating dinner one night, and I heard some loud noises outside my window. I didn't know what it was out in the backyard. Of course, so I grabbed my camera in one hand and my flashlight in the other, and went to see what it was. Went to investigate. That's what we do. But I walked out there, and this thing was still bellowing and hooting and hollering. But I didn't see anything. And you can see in the footage, it's about 1 minute and 15 seconds long, but I'm just constantly scanning the tree line, looking for eye shine or anything, and didn't see anything with my naked eyes. And this is another weird thing that I noticed, and I haven't mentioned it too far because a lot of people mention this, but right at the end of the footage, the camera freezes up. And I remember that's why I come back in the house, because I thought the camera stopped, so I just go back in the house. And I thought back many times I've been out there in those woods filming something, and my camera would act stupid, and you hear people talking about things like, so I thought maybe that's what it was. But anyway, I come back in the house, like I said, I didn't see anything. And I downloaded apparently the video and other things apparently. So and never thought anything else about it. So 2 weeks ago, like I said, I was looking at it, I heard everything. So I said, what is that? So I slowed it down and I started watching, really just watch where my flashlight's moving, because that's all you can see anyway. So if you just follow my flashlight, it's crazy. In the bottom right-hand screen, it appears to be it looks like a Bigfoot, and it may be one of the best images of the face of a Bigfoot. I'm sure they don't all look like this, but it's real. It's almost comical, almost goofy looking. But it looks like it runs up to me, looks straight at me, and it couldn't be just a few feet away, because like I say, this footage, even though it was at night, there were enough things that lit up that I could go out and actually I have made comparison videos and photos and trace actually to almost exactly where I was standing at when I took the video. And so I can do a daytime comparison of what was what and where it was, But this thing, it come right up, it looked at me and strode off, it's real faint in the corner, unless you just happen to be looking down in the corner of that screen, and you'll see it. So I took it, and of course, having a little background in the graphics, I was able to enhance it a little bit.
At the time you took the video, you had no idea this was going on.
No, I didn't see anything, didn't hear anything except for the noise in the woods. And I come to find out, some people had told me that the noise was a deer in distress, which I thought, well, that kind of validates what I saw, and some other things I think I found in the film.
Yeah.
Which it was a spooky sound. I've never heard it before, but that's what it apparently was. And I looked it up, and it definitely was that. But no, up until then, I haven't. Didn't see anything that night, and it was so for that stuff to be in the footage. And this is at the first part of the footage. And like I said, I challenge anybody to take this footage and like when I approached Steve, I said, you take it, if you tear it apart, go deep as you want to do, color it, enhance it, whatever. That thing don't go away, whatever's in the corner.
Right.
So
Well,
it's there.
you know,
my light hit it right in the face, whatever it was, even though I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And it was totally quiet.
I admire you for saying that too, Dale. A lot of folks, will get so overprotective of their stuff that, I think that if somebody down the road said, well, really, it could be this, you're open enough to say, well, yeah, it could be. That's what I like about. I don't think that's going to happen, but
yeah. The thing will be is I'm definitely sure what it wasn't, because whatever it was at least as high as I am from where I was holding the camera, about this high, like you would if you was filming, and for it to come up, it had to be at least as tall as I was.
Sure.
And,
so we're gonna watch this all together. We'll play the face video first, and then we have and I gotta give you props. You did a reconstruction and everything. I think that's awesome.
Oh, I've been working my butt off, and I've done several of them. I'm trying to show it as best as I can, and as truthfully as I can, what is there and what you see and what I see. I hope to be the same thing. But yeah, if you got a chance, play it.
Okay, so let's give this a listen, and I'm going to mute myself, but if you want me to stop the video at any particular point and want to add some of your own commentary, please just let me know. Dale, we can let you do that because we can talk over the video. So we're going to play this right now. Here we are.
You see some of the color images right there at the start. It's of the still images. You literally had to look at this thing frame by frame. That's actual footage. See how fast it is?
Yeah.
And just not, if you wasn't paying attention to it, you just think, oh, just flashlight just shine on something. But once you look at it, something looks back at you.
And it turned, yeah.
Yeah, and slow it down. It looks at me and turns and strolls off, And when you listen to it, you didn't hear any footsteps. You can hear my footsteps when I'm walking a little bit, leaves crunching. But how can that thing not make a sound?
That is right there. That's pretty interesting.
At first I called it a ghost. Maybe it's a ghost or something, or ghost of a Bigfoot. But it's got, you see how big the ear? It's got a big old ears. And if you look at it close, the ear seems to connect with a brow ridge, and that's real odd looking. And I got some other videos that make it show that. Hear that in the background? That's the deer in distress. This is the original footage. And you just watch my flashlight, see where it shines.
Oh, and there you have it. Let's run this one more time, just because it's. Okay. Yep, and Suzanne agreed that was deer snorts. We'll play this again. Very interesting. It's these little things.
Wow. Yeah, the turn is what gets me. Yeah,
and you can almost see the back of its head way it's contoured and the ears from the back, and you look them on a big screen.
Well, one thing's for certain, these things aren't pretty by our standards.
If you fellas get the chance to look at this, well, this is the full footage again, but there's something towards the end of the footage I've really been looking at hard, and it really freaks me out. I'll tell you about it in a second.
Yeah, go ahead, Dale. Tell us what you wanted to say about.
Yeah, at the very end of the footage, and it's hard to see on that, but also you had to look at it frame by frame. But it's actually on the left-hand side of the screen, and it's what it looks like to me, and what I can make out of it, and it's weird. But you hear many people talking about these dogman things that look like werewolves. To me, and it may just be me, but it's side profile, and it looked like a werewolf. It almost looked like a cartoonish werewolf. I mean, I can see like say frame by frame, you actually see a hairline and pointed ears going back, and it looks like a snout and teeth. But this is the most intriguing thing when you look at the footage. What it was, my flashlight just, if I'd have went over just one more foot, I'd probably caught the whole thing. But you see, I just barely caught its face. And that's when it jumped back, moved, when I call it face. But you see it, and I know good and well it's a hand, because you see 5 fingernails when you look at it. They're lit up, and they're reflecting, and they come across as it turns like that. And the intriguing thing is they come across right in front of 2 trees that are bent in such a way that I could pinpoint them exactly. And where the hand come across, that looks like a hand to me, was 5 feet high. So it was at its waist. So whatever this was, it was something. But
whatever's on the right of the screen here definitely has a nose. So I don't have a pointer that I can show you, but definitely has a brow ridge, a nose, looks like ears. I mean, hard fit to say. I mean, it may look like ears, it may look like an extended brow ridge. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I've got some other images. I think I have better color images where the contrast was better, and it looked like a beard, big old monkey ears.
And that's unusual that is unusual for a Sasquatch to have, though. I mean,
something else too you might want to consider. I've had reports about when these things are close to people, they do things with their hands, like they'll put their hands up by their face or near the side of their head,
Yeah, I can see that.
We may actually be looking at fingers in there too, in the mix. Part of it.
But I've seen you fellas some of the stuff I've been working on, and it's clearing it up a lot. It's not perfect, but you can make things a little better.
It's interesting to me, Dale. I mean, of course, it's not going to win an Academy Award because it's not very clear. But now what's interesting to me and what I do like about it is what you're showing there goes beyond pareidolia, because whatever you filmed, it turned its head.
Right.
So whatever
the face stays there in context. And you see the eyebrows move, and literally when you look at it on screen on something like, you can see the pupils. You see dark black pupils when you really enlarge it in a certain color enhancement. But color, when you color enhancing them things, it's not cheating and making anything show up that's not
right.
Yeah, so I just want people to know that when you color enhance them, it's not.
This would be enough. This would be enough to convince me already that you've got something. You're on to something. You've got something going on in your area.
And I wish I'd have caught it. I wish I'd seen this film back in 2018. I mean, I've been living in a tent back there, you know. But it has brought a lot of a sense to me that to really know, okay, they're really real. And the boogers in my backyard, they come up close to your house, just like you hear people talking about. But you know, again, the thing, what gets me is it's so freaking quiet. And why is it like that? You look at Patty. You know, Patty looks so solid, and it's totally different. It's a different kind of creature than Patty is, or what, you know? I don't know.
Right. On the home place where I used to live, Dale, they had I had just a small little cedar thicket. It was overgrown. It's probably maybe, I don't know, 2 acres maybe behind the house, and we never did farm that because it was just a bottom, you know, with cedar trees going around the ridge of it, and we just let it be. Let blackberries and rabbits grow, you know. And that wasn't 300 feet behind the old house, and yet and oh gosh, I can't remember the year now. I had found tracks, fresh tracks in the snow that had just been made going into that thicket, and so I don't think they really care, you know, if they got something they see some benefit. They don't care if they go near your house or not. And after that, you know, I installed these big freaking flood lamps around back. So at nighttime, it was all lit up back there.
That probably makes a difference. But,
yeah, never was interested in having them near the home. You know, I know I was fine living in an area where they didn't frequent, but they were there every now and then. But
well,
you know,
my dad, I've never done here, even though I know that I feel they're here.
Yeah.
And I'm still uncomfortable saying I know, even though I know, you know, and I don't care what you say this creature was right here, you know, I know what it wasn't, because if it was a possum or a raccoon or whatever, I'd have seen it, you know, no doubt. So it's just paranormal, whatever it is, it's supernatural, whatever it is. But I've never hoot and hollered at my house. I've done a few wood knocks, but I've always had the fear. I don't want them too close to my house or my neighbors, especially. You know, stuff. But here they are. You know?
Yeah, that would not be nice. You know, if your bed's near a window and you like roll over and look out the window some night and there's Bigfoot staring at you, that wouldn't be nice.
Oh, you know, and I've been looking out my windows for years, you know, just hoping to get a glance, you know. But like you say, it's going to be looking at me up close and personal one day. And, oh Lord.
Not interested in that kind of experience, no. Now, if I want to go out and walk several miles and get out into their territory and see one, that's great. But I don't want to see one when I'm laying in bed at the house. No.
Yeah, because, you know, I mean, you don't never know what you're doing that they're watching you doing, you know, whatever it is, taking a bath, whatever, you know. So that's kind of a little creepy, a little, you know, perverted critters. But it's really been intriguing me. And this one piece of footage has almost got me to the point where, okay, I can quit now. You know, as far as looking, you know, I saw it, and I know good and well this is not what they all look like. You know, because you know what people talk about being really scary and mean looking. I'm glad this one looked like that. You know, it's kind of goofy looking, but.
I mean, Chris says it would ruin my 6-month bedwetting streak. And David says next they'll want garlic. Man, you know, I waited the bed on up till I was about 12 years old, and I got so good I could hit it from the hallway. That's just a joke. That's great.
Holy. But that was a contributing factor to me moving from the old house. The creatures were within 300 feet of the house, and I saw evidence, and was great evidence, because the tracks that were made in the snow that night that I found them weren't there when I had walked out. And I stayed over about an hour and came back, and they were there, and I was like, whoa.
Take a second look. Yeah, I've only found a couple of tracks. You know, it's hard to find tracks in and Alabama and Georgia, you know, because there's so much stuff on the ground, leaves and things. Really got to find one where they've accidentally done something. And I think I found one. And again, it was just in my front yard, just a few feet from where my daughter saw the booger in there. I sent you a picture of that. It looked like it stepped in an ant bed, you know, and that's the reason it left a track.
Well, that makes me curious, Dale. Is there like a waterway, a creek, or anything near your house? A little branch or water
runoff or anything?
Well, I sent Steve a picture a little earlier. I don't know if you've seen it. But I just thought about it right at the, you know, the start of the show, right before the start of the show. But it was a Google photo I had taken a couple of years ago of my home, you know, way up high, of course, way up high from satellite. But if you look and see where my home's at, it's almost shaped like an hourglass. The woods are shaped like an hourglass. Right. It goes down like that, and my house is right there in the center. And it's just kind of cut out in the woods a little bit. And you see me and my neighbor just kind of right there in our own little spot. Then the road coming across. But my thinking is that, and put it this way, if I was a booger, where would I cross the road? I would cross it in front of my house because that's where the woods narrow down, and it's the little area where it can be seen, you know, as far as going across fields or stuff. It kind of, here it can kind of jump in a ditch, go across the road, jump in the ditch, be in the woods again. And
that makes sense.
And you see lots of lakes and things and way back in the woods that I've never even been back there to find yet, you know. So there's creeks, there's everything here that should support, you know, something.
Well,
like that.
It makes sense that they would want to, you know, take the route of least exposure. So you've got a natural funnel there. Right. And they want to follow that tree line until they get close to where they can't anymore, then jump across. That makes perfect sense. It's real
obvious when you look at it. Just, you know, just the woods, the green, you see almost makes a perfect hourglass.
Right.
Like
where does a Bigfoot cross the road? Anywhere it damn well wants.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
But yeah, and Suzanne said it. Terrain is everything. And Chris knows, looking at terrain, you know, how many times we said, okay, it's got to be this way. And it works. So let's play your other video we have here for and this is part of your reconstruction, I believe. So we'll play this.
Yeah, this is the critter, the dog man looking critter I've seen. Now, see, look at that. Don't you look like an ear? Okay, there it is. This is frame by frame. Now watch. I might have went to a little link there.
And we do want to add that this is being added with the permission of the copyright owner, because he's here tonight.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Well, only he can file the copyright claim. So. I don't know. You know, could it be just a light hitting the back of something a certain way?
When you see the daytime footage, you'll see there's nothing there for it to really hit.
I'm thinking I think there's something there, but I think that maybe it's turned a different way, and maybe it's a hair displacement.
Yeah.
Like this could be the back of the head, and we're looking at a side profile of the head, and maybe it's got a tuft of hair, especially if it has an ear. That could be the hair over the ear.
Yeah. Man, I didn't realize I told the story that long, but I wanted to be detailed, I guess. But I'm still telling it. I should have speeded that up a little bit.
Well, you know, there are people. There we go. Speed it up a little bit.
Okay. See that hand going back and forth there? That's freaking fingers. Look at that. You count 5 of them when you see on a big screen. You see 5 lit up little fingernails. And it goes in front of a tree. So there's definitely something in front. You see it going in front of that tree there? So it's not like out in the open black, you know. And with it going by that tree there, like I say, that's a very unique tree. I was able to measure that exactly where his hand was. And if you were standing there, his hand would hit you in the face, even though his head looked like it's 2 or 3 feet higher, you know. So whatever it is, it was there and it was big. And it was quiet again. It was totally quiet. But I watched it over and over, backwards and forwards. To me, it looks like it turns to the. It's looks like it turns to its right, and that's its left hand swinging around as it darts off. But again, like I said, when you look at the footage I'm working on, there's perfect daytime footage where I can show you every one of those trees that's lit up right there. The flashlights are on, and there's no doubt about it. There it was. It was real fast. Like I said, I just happened to look there and catch it, like I did on the other side. Okay, well, there's the actual footage of daytime footage right there. And I'm standing about where I was when I took the footage. And I'm doing some more recreation, a little more detail. Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm liking that. If that's a profile, I'm liking that profile.
Ain't that crazy looking? It almost looked like, to me, I told my wife, it looks like one of them dang cartoon Bigfoots that, chase Bugs Bunny around, or the Three Pigs or something to me.
Yeah, I'm noticing from what I can see, it is kind of detail.
Well, that's a good question, yeah. Chris. I was thinking of that myself. That was the hand. Why is it not casting a shadow?
Well, you see a shadow up against the tree there that it comes across. Watch when it comes across. That green behind it is tree. It crosses right past that tree.
I see. Well,
it's real close.
But it's hard to tell if that's your beam moving out that's causing that darkness to come in. I'm just saying, just trying to be objective on it.
Oh yeah, it could be very well, but I'm glad it was in front of that.
There is definitely something there, right? That warrants, really some further investigation.
Yeah, and definitely.
And, no telling what it was, but it was definitely caught my attention, and it's what people talk about.
Now you see, to me, that could also be. And as I've done a lot of paranormal investigation, was this in night vision by chance?
No.
Okay. To me, it looks like it could be a reflective insect almost.
Yeah, well,
that's just
the footage is enhanced, a little bit to bring out the color, so that's why it looks a little more greenish than the original.
Okay, but it looks like it could very well be the little. Well, let's see the.
You have to watch it.
Yeah, you see, to me,
about a second.
Yeah.
To me, that kind of
yeah.
There, I want to get it back.
We may be thinking the same thing, Steve. That flash may be unrelated. Maybe unrelated.
Yeah, to me that it looks like it's going from right to left real quick.
Yeah.
And it looks like as what we call a rod. Where we get those a lot of time in night vision cameras, but the same effect would happen with the flashlight.
Yeah.
And when you add visual effects, it can even amplify that even more. So I don't know, but there's something definitely on the left hand side.
Yeah, there's some kind of profile showing there. Definitely.
Now this is crazy thing. Y'all gonna think I'm nuts because it's one piece of freaking footage. It's actually 1 minute and 15 seconds long, and you have to get into it to look close to see this. But and it's almost ridiculous, but it's there. But at the first part where you see the booger face on the right hand corner, it's hard to see in the original footage, but right beside it. And whatever it was in front of me too. And I know it wasn't my shadow because there was nothing behind me making a shadow. I know it, but it looks like what don't look like a shadow. It looks like the image of a gorilla, as far as the head, the shoulder, the arm, right down to the elbow where the arms would be. And it looks like it when that little face comes up beside me. This thing looks like it raises up and goes off to the left. And it's really hard to bring out. But you can see it in there when you analyze the film real close and look at it like I've been looking at it. And again, that's why I say anybody take this film and dissect it, look at it and see what you see and tell me what you think.
Yep. Very interesting.
I'm seeing some things I like.
Yeah, there's definitely some stuff going on there, but it's been quiet since, right?
Yeah. Well. I haven't caught anything since then, and the reason that is like I say, all this was in 2018. September 2018, I had went to a visit David Baccara out in the Bigfoot Expedition Bigfoot Museum in Georgia. Dear friend of mine. Actually, the picture you got there on the screen, that it was taken there by his museum. But anyway, I had went to up there to visit him and talk to him about some things. Anyway, man, I lost track. Where was that?
Well, we were asking about, any activity since then.
Oh, it's activity. Okay.
Yeah.
I think my short-term memory is getting longer. But yeah, September, I went there to meet Cliff and Bobo was going to be there. And so I went and met them and come back. But that September, I got home, and my doctors put it this way: is my back was a train wreck, and it crashed. And I had a lot of health issues as far as degenerative disc disease and arthritis and things. And for the last 2 years, it's kind of put me down as far as not being able to get out and walk and do a whole lot. But this past year, I've been feeling a whole lot better, the last 6 to 8 months. So I say that's the reason why activity stopped. Not because it stopped, it's because I stopped looking. It's hard, so I don't know if it stopped or not. But as far as actually catching anything, I haven't caught anything.
Haven't heard anything either.
Or no, I haven't heard anything.
So usually those guys aren't quiet about themselves when they get comfortable in an area. They start, messing.
You hear about people talking about migration, and you see how it kind of funnels in there. And I'm just wondering, maybe sometimes they don't just migrate from that side of the road to the other side of the road for a while and head towards the Chattahoochee River, or
it could have been one of those temporary things where they were hanging out there just temporarily, and there's maybe something in maybe something in their normal territory is upsetting them, so they've moved over there for the meantime.
It's quite amazing, and I appreciate y'all profiling it and showing it. Folks.
Yeah. I mean, give some people some food for thought. I definitely am gonna mess around with a little bit, and I'll send those off to you.
Absolutely.
Earlier we got a question, and when you first got in, and now we're going to talk about the bad stuff we haven't talked about in a while. We talked a little bit about it, but that's okay. We can talk about it. It doesn't, like I said, nothing is ever off limits. But somebody asked me, unfortunately, at one time you had gotten messed up with, like so many of my friends now. And it's amazing because all those people that were in his corner are now my friends. And when they realize that, this guy is a crap act, they realize, and, I remember Frank Callie, Cindy Schaefer, Andrew Clacy, they all, we've all talked in the past and, put everything behind us, as did we, because it was just, there was no need for any ill will on anything. But at one time you had gotten involved with our favorite resident, Mr. Rick Dyer, when he had the second, because you didn't know about the 2008 thing. So,
no, I didn't have idea. I didn't have no idea who Rick Dyer was at the time. I never heard of him. And I'll just give the quick story of that. Again, that was in 2011 when I had my surgery. And put me out of the music business. Also, I couldn't do anything but sit around and watch TV, basically, And that's when I really got into YouTube. I never watched YouTube very much because it just had so much stupid stuff on it back then, on what I thought.
Back then?
Yeah, that's what I was still true. It's worse now, good Lord.
I will admit TikTok is taking some of that stupidness away, but
you got that right. Absolutely. I subscribed to that, but I unsubscribed just fast. I'm like, oh, God, it's too much. But anyway, I never knew who he was. And when I punched or when I typed in Bigfoot in the search engine, and I guess he was the thing that time, because everything that come up was Rick Dyer, Bigfoot, and he killed a Bigfoot and shot a Bigfoot and stuff. So I thought, that ain't that cool. So I started watching and watching, and the hangout things was coming on. So I was watching those, and what I guess intrigued me was a lot of the people that was on there seemed to be very intelligent people, that like, I'm like, he couldn't, if it was going on, they couldn't fool him, that seemed like an intelligent guy. I mean, that joker like a professor, but, and that's what really got me involved in it. And after I really got on, in touch with him, and we became friends, I never looked at anything else and I don't know if he, and I hate to use the word he, because I just can't picture somebody doing that to somebody intentionally. But I'm the worst at being gullible. I'll believe everybody, and I'll give everybody a second chance. And I just believe people deserve to be, at least looked at and considered, as far as things they're doing or whatever. But I never heard none of this old stuff till I got in there. Then of course he had an explanation for everything, and I didn't know any better, and we didn't know any better. And yeah, it was a wild ride, and I can't believe I was there and did all that. And looking back now, I'm thinking, what was gullible was just ignorant or stupid.
Yeah, the question that actually came up was a while back, and Lowrider, we're finally gonna. But at what point did you figure out what Rick Dyer was really about?
It happened. One of the things that convinced me, and you remember the Hank thing, is what I was convinced with. I saw it in person 2 or 3 times before I actually went on the tour thing with him. But we flew to Las Vegas when he first brought it home, and of course it was in a glass case. You couldn't touch it or whatever, but you could smell it, and it smelled like a dead animal to me. I've never been around too many animals or taxidermied animals. But you could smell it, and I said, "That's a dang animal. That smells like an animal." And that's what kind of convinced me. But you couldn't see it or touch it or anything. But that was the smell was the biggest thing that intrigued me.
Yeah, that was the thing about the Iceman, the Minnesota Iceman. It was kind of stinky, so it made you think,
Yeah. Well, come to find out, the Hank thing was made out of camel fur. I'm like, well, I ain't never stuck my nose to a camel, so I guess that may be why I didn't recognize that smell.
Oh man!
Let me tell you about Ahab, the Arab, she does burn sand. The old song about Ahab and the camel.
Well, anyway, I promised you this, and John Swan called for it too. John Swan called for it. Diet Peach Snapple. Remember, we had talked a little bit about that in our conversation, Dale, about our unofficial sponsor of the show. So here it is for everybody's enjoyment, the Diet Peach Snapple.
You Bigfooters thirsty out there, well, I suggest to get a delicious, refreshing Snapple. Yes, even the most famous Bigfoot rush to the store to get themselves their favorite beverage, a delicious peach Snapple. No need to be cranky when you can just ask your loved one for a delicious beverage.
Got it? Joe, get me a Snapple.
And don't be in such a hurry. There's plenty at the store.
Get me a Diet Peach Snapple.
Try delicious peach Snapple.
Joe, get me a Snapple.
That's great. That's great. Good job, Steve. I love that.
Well, yeah, if anybody from Snapple is watching, we wouldn't mind doing a sponsorship, but also if anybody from Double Cola is watching, hey, come on. Ski, man, come on. I drink it on every show, so, hit us up. Send me a 12-pack or something.
Yeah, it's too bad that we couldn't get that beer hookup. We'd be...
Now that was a commercial.
We would be sauced.
Well, I don't drink beer. I don't like beer. People say they love beer. It tastes great. The first time I take a drink of a beer, I was like, ugh. People drink this? Good Lord.
No, I'm probably one of, if not the only sober musician in the world. I've never drank and don't care for it, but boy, I played so many clubs and everybody was drinking butt meat. It seems like, you know,
Yeah.
that makes for a rough time. But I'm like you, man. That stuff's so nasty. It needs some sugar in it or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Beer,
I just don't like it. You know, I saw one of my buddies turned up a beer, and when he put it down, he went, you know, and I thought, I'll try it. And I took a drink, and I found out he lied. There's no way he enjoyed that.
I love a good beer.
Yeah. I guess, you know, everybody's got different tastes.
It's an acquired taste. It's definitely an acquired taste.
It must be.
Yep. But I'm still preferential to my Jim Beam bourbon. So
family show.
Well, PG-13.
Everybody.
Actually, our ratings, we always make the show not for kids. So if we do get saucy or drop an occasional explicative like we have been known to do in the past,
every now and then,
just
a little bit.
Every now and again, we let the shit storm fly. I mean, the storm fly. But we can do that. So, Dale, are you gonna get out there and try it again some more, or are you still kind of?
I've been at it as far as I could go. Like I said, I've had to learn how far I go and how far I can't. You know, just like anything else. And getting older, and my biggest problem is just accepting this dang old age stuff. I don't like it. I didn't nobody tell me it was going to be like this, you know. But I'm just 62. But yeah, I'm still enjoying it, and I'm out there looking and enjoying it. But like I said, I'm confident enough now to feel like I can say I'm a knower.
Yeah.
You know, even though I didn't see it with my own eyes, I know it was in that film, and there's nothing else. Whatever it could have been, whether it's a Bigfoot or a ghost or paranormal possum, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Dale, I'd like to suggest something. I mean,
Yes,
I know
sir.
with your back and stuff, it's kind of difficult to get out there and trek around. Believe me, I'm with you on that. Okay. But you can get since it's close to your home, you can get a low cost, like a security cam with infrared night vision, that wireless, have a little antenna on it. Mount that dude out there on a tree somewhere and check it out from inside your home. You know, if I lived near an area like you've got now, I would be doing the 24-hour 7 Squatch cam again.
You know, I've heard that, but I'd be scared of running it off. And actually, right after my daughter saw the book, I went out and immediately bought a trail cam,
right,
and put it up and didn't hear or see anything for a while. So I just maybe it's because I put this up and they say it runs them off. And a while back, you know,
you know, that's a very common misconception that they can see the infrared. Well, the infrared is only triggered when the camera is triggered. So it's just a photoelectric eye. So no, they don't see it. Otherwise, you know, you can't explain.
If that thing gonna walk up and look at me eye to eye like that, he sure ain't scared to look at a camera.
Well, I had mine 24-hour project going for a long time, and believe me, I was low tech. This is back when VHS tapes were still a thing, you know. I recorded on VHS tape, so that meant every 6 hours I had to go change the tape.
And
then after I changed the tape, that meant I had to review. Of course, I would fast forward and review 6 hours of footage on every time. And man, you know, that's I saw a lot of raccoons, a lot of possums. There were a couple of things that we got that was really interesting. Nothing, you know, totally definitive, but I did have an orange disappear, and I found the peeling nicely piled up in a pile where something or someone had peeled the orange and ate it, I suppose. But anyway, I just wanted to suggest that maybe like a 24-hour recording thing.
They make some cool stuff, and that's a good idea. I'm gonna check into that.
And Quickwitty asks, well, Quickwitty usually has, like, Chris always has a standard question he asks of witnesses. Quickwitty always has a question too. What do you think of a government cover-up? Do you think the government?
Absolutely, I believe it is, and I live right. Well, I can almost throw a rock and hit Fort Benning, Georgia. Even though I'm in Alabama, they actually got part of their base actually extends over to Alabama across the Chattahoochee. So I'm on the Alabama side, and close enough where I can hear when they're practicing, and I can see them jumping out of the planes. But you know, there's been reports and things that you can look up of things going on in Fort Benning. Back in '79, there was a report of a soldier had his chest torn out, and the MPs and the helicopters were supposedly chasing this big critter through the woods. But you know, you can look it up and read that. But it's very interesting.
Now,
but yeah, I definitely believe the government knows, and they ain't telling.
Oh no! Hey, you know what? It is a reasonable question. That's why I asked it.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that you know, it's okay to have your standard question. Hey,
so yes, since we're on standard questions, have you ever had a chance to see any eye shine, Dale?
I have occasionally, and nothing I filmed or caught on film, but yeah, I've seen it. And matter of fact, it wasn't long before, my wife brought it up when I was showing her this footage, and right in the same area when I was looking out the same window one night, we both looked up at the same time and said, "You see that eye shine out there?" And it was two different eye shine, whatever. Well, I don't know if it was an animal or what, but it looked too tall to be a standard animal. It could have been in a tree or something. But it was like one here and one here. But that was it.
Can you remember did it have any distinctive coloration to it? Any kind of color?
Yeah, it was red. They were both of them were red, or all four of them. You want to count each individual one.
Right.
It was real quick now, you know, but it was real. We saw it at the same time and both looked at each other at the same time. Said, "You see that?"
Yeah. So, next question we have from the chat is from our good friend John Swan. Does Dale have any vocalizations? He had the caps lock on, so he says, "Why am I yelling?"
I do that, John, sometimes. Yeah.
I thought that was great.
Yeah, I have the one audio that I was telling you about earlier in the show that has been analyzed and looked at and stuff. Got some.
And while we're on the topic, do you have a YouTube handle that people can go to you? Yeah. I know you can just, if you go up in the search bar and just type in Dale Boswell, his channel will come up.
Right, and you'll see some of my music and stuff come up too, and also and I like to mention just quickly to all the veterans out there. I know we got lots of veterans who are into Bigfoot and they love this stuff like we do, and I just want to thank them for their service. And the song I wrote and recorded a few years ago, it's gotten a lot of attention worldwide. It's called "My Soldier Prayer," and it's a tribute to the fallen soldier. And I wrote it in honor of the families and the friends who have lost people overseas. And it's like I say, it's gotten a lot of attention. It's probably my signature song, and was actually one of George Jones' favorite personal songs. And I remember one year taking him 12 copies that he wanted to give out to friends for Christmas, you know. But anyway, just a shout out to our veterans and let them know that.
Question coming over on Facebook from Suzanne Farnchek. How does Dale feel about the Bigfoots possibly living nearby? Has it impacted your regular life?
It didn't up until 2 weeks ago when I found this footage, and it makes me not scared or anything, but makes me more aware. Like this, I think they're there, and literally, I'm not sure if I want to go back too far in the woods or not. And matter of fact, just last week, my wife bought me a tent that I was going to put up in the yard for the grandkids and stuff, and I was going to put it back there around my area. What I actually call it Boogerville. In the area I like to look at, but I was going to put it back there, and I'm not now, because after I saw that tape, because it scared me. I don't want nothing peeking their head in that tent looking at them kids, you know.
Maybe you can put a tent back there and put some Walmart ribs back there.
From Walmart, I know. Yeah, I know where you're going with that one. Yeah, it worked for him, so you never know, I guess.
Yeah, it's supposedly worked.
Yeah. I don't know about ribs. Huh?
Well, I thought maybe you'd set up a tent and put some ribs on the grill.
Oh,
that would bring them in.
I'd be up for that.
That'd bring me in if I live close.
Yeah, we'll let the drone do the work. How about that?
I got one of them drones in my cart too, Steve. I'm gonna get one just like that. I love it.
Yeah, it's extremely light. You don't have to, because it's so light, you don't have to register it with the FAA, which that has to be at like 0.55 grams or something. Mine, it's like 0.22. It's very light. It doesn't even weigh a pound. I'm like, wow, this thing's light. Slap the battery in it, maybe a pound at best, and off it goes. It's kind of funny because I noticed that, those propellers are really ripping, but in the video, they look like they're just moving slow, which is kind of weird.
Man, I'm going to pass
Hey,
on the
do I have
drones.
time to tell you my other encounter? I guess you call it
Absolutely.
Oh,
Let me
please,
tell you
yeah.
right quick. And I sent you footage and this stuff of this too. But this happened also in 2018. Happened in the same month as I saw the booger running through the woods. I saw that on the 2nd. This happened on the 18th of May, and I was outside in my booger hut, getting back here. It's kind of like a gazebo type thing, built off the ground. I call it my booger hut. It's got a roof on it, so I can go out there, just hang out, and just look at the woods or whatever I want to do out there. Eat a banana sandwich, I guess, glass of tea. But I was out there, and I just had bought a new camera, a new cell phone. So I was sitting there facing the house, and it was so coinky dinky. But I had my phone just looking at it, and I was going to take a video just to see the video quality of the camera and
Right.
What it looked like and if it was gonna be a decent camera or not.
Yeah.
But and this ain't, and I swear there ain't a God in heaven if this ain't true. But I had my finger this far from the record button, and I heard the biggest crash in the woods to my right. I mean, so instinctively I just turned like that.
Right.
To I don't know if you can see me on that. Anyway, I turned my camera like that. And just for a second, I seen the blur of something. And I thought, well, maybe that was a limb falling, and I caught the limb falling or going back up or whatever. But, I've been in this enough to learn that, okay, here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to stop filming, because first thing people say is, why'd you stop filming? Right. So I filmed for almost 3 minutes. And like I said, I didn't see nothing with my naked eyes, even though I heard a really big crash in the woods, and you can hear part of it on the video. When I turn, you just hear the back part of it. The first part was really loud. Mm-hmm. But I turned and I held the camera like that, and I was looking with my naked eyes, just seeing what I could see, and I didn't want to move the camera in case something got up and run off or whatever. I wanted to catch it, and I didn't see anything. So I said, well, let me walk over. So I clambered down out of my booger hut, wobbled out. It took me a second to crawl out of it, but I walked over there still filming. And I walked over to where this was, and I looked up and down, looked in the bushes and tree limbs, and didn't see anything as far as anything live or dead or crawling or creeping off or nothing, So I didn't think that much else about it. So I went back and sat back down in my booger hut. Then I reviewed the footage, and within first like 4 seconds, and I sent that to you too. I don't know if you looked at it, Steve, but as I was turning towards it, is when I caught the film. But it looks, and I've showed it to several people, not saying a word, and I'll say, what does that look like to you? And everybody will say, looks like a monkey. I'm like, looks like a monkey. I'm like, well, we don't have monkeys in Alabama, but and it definitely looks like a primate. Swing. I don't know if it was swinging or fell, or I don't know if there's a mama or something there before, but it was awful loud for this thing to be making that much noise. Yeah. But it did. So that's one of the things I've been analyzing and looking at frame by frame, footage by footage. I've done comparison photos of the actual tree, where it was at, because I could pinpoint it right to the wire where it looked like it was close to the tree. Right. And by looking at the video and using the scale and using myself at scale, whatever it was at least 3, maybe 3.5 feet tall. But it looks like a monkey, and I've showed it to like I say, several people, and I call it my baby booger. But I didn't see anything, and it happened during that same month of things that's happening. But it's on my YouTube channel, and you can look at it and see what you think. What I know, it was not a possum, it wasn't a cat, and it wasn't a squirrel, because I've got all them critters around my house, and I've seen them time and time again, and I ain't never seen any of them make that kind of racket. So whatever it was had some weight and was strong. And I've watched my cats chase squirrels up through trees and things like that. But it was heavy, whatever this was. But take a look at it and see what you think. But
I don't want to put your entire channel on the show tonight. That's why we always kind of save some for people after the show to go visit your site. And, give you guys some props and stuff.
Yeah, well, I haven't been publicly talking about this stuff a whole lot, so I'm kind of excited to talk about it a little bit. I guess that's why I'm telling everything, And like I've never been one to lie, and I'm not going to lie to you about anything. I'm going to tell you straight up what I saw and what I think I saw, or what it looked like to me, anything. Like that. So
Bob Lemmy says, we raised 5 kids. I've seen a lot of baby boogers. Ain't that the truth? Dave Wickham turned around and said, crying baby recording in a tent with a remote camera covering. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I saw an earlier show with you, Steve, I was watching, and y'all were talking about the baby Bigfoot footage, the New York baby Bigfoot footage. And this kind of similar. When I saw this, that's the first thing I thought about was that New York footage. Kind of reminded me of that. But then I saw some more footage. I don't know if you saw it. Belongs to Brian Sons, S-O-N-S. And he's got somewhat looks like a baby Bigfoot, but it kind of looks like mine too. Something. But that's whatever these are. They kind of look similar. Whether they were monkeys or what, or gorillas or boogers or deformed possums. I don't know.
Right.
But anyway, I enjoy this. I really do. Like most people get into it. It's almost to an obsessive, and I call it my prestigious hobby.
That's right.
It reminds me. It's been several years ago now, and my mother still lives did live on the home farm there. And several years ago, she called me and had me come over there. She was mad, and she had been seeing what she said was a small monkey, and I'm like, Mom, it's probably a raccoon or something like that. She said, no, it was a monkey. She said, because it went up this tree, and bear with me here. It went up this tree, and she said, when I went over there to look for it, it peed on me.
Oh my!
Definitely sound like a monkey.
Yeah, could have been. Well, it's kind of funny because Alabama isn't too far from Florida, and there's a lot of weird animals that get released into the woods.
Yeah,
in Florida. I mean, they got anacondas, they got monkeys, they got ball pythons that are out there, and some really weird. You see this encroachment of non-environmental creatures that aren't. Sorry, now I'm having a indigenous creatures to the area. That's what I was looking for, the word indigenous.
Well, I do have it on a VHS tape somewhere. I did record some kind of odd little animal that sort of scurried along like a monkey without a tail. It didn't have a tail. And I was kind of thinking maybe it's a groundhog or something. You just don't see the tail. But this is about the same time that Mom had called me and said, get over here. But she swears to this day a monkey was in that tree and it peed on her.
Did you ever ask her if it had a tail?
No, she couldn't see it. She couldn't see it in the tree. She was looking for it. She had got a glimpse of it going up the tree.
Gotcha.
But when she went to look for it in the tree, all she knew was it rained on her a little bit there, and it was warm, and she was mad.
Well, at least it didn't chuck a banana at her.
Well,
that would have been very unpleasant.
No, around here it would have been an apple, because we've got apples. No bananas, but apples.
A few years ago, we were visiting some friends in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, that live on a lot of property that is really active, and she's very well known in the Bigfoot community. She's a good friend of ours, Miss Mary Catherine Scruggs. But we visiting her for a weekend.
Good night, David.
And the morning we're going to get up and going to church one Sunday morning. My wife was looking out the window towards her backyard, putting her on her makeup, and she saw a baby Bigfoot. in Mary's backyard, you know, and I didn't see anything. I was in front of the house, and you know, my wife got all excited a little bit, and she was just telling me about it, trying to say, what was it? What did it look like? What was it? Tell me. You know, I was more excited was her than she was, and she kind of said what your mom said. She said it was a dadgum monkey person. That's what it looked like, a little monkey person. You know, so you know, that's pretty cool.
Well, you know, in Mom's case, I don't really think she's seen a monkey. I think she probably caught a glimpse of a cat going up a tree, and then we had these little critters here that's called cicadas. I guess everybody's got them, or locusts too, the 7-year locusts, and both of those things they'll land on a sugar tree, a maple, and they'll drink the sap until finally it shoots out. You know, when they can't drink anymore, it shoots out. So I was kind of thinking it was kind of that situation with Mom, and she just kind of put 2 and 2 together and got 8.
Man, I don't know. She might not go for thinking a bug peed on her. That'd be
she's still to this day. She firmly believes that a monkey went up that tree and it peed on her, even though she didn't see it do that. You know,
I like it. There's a song in there somewhere.
Are you hitting that monkey? Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that, you know, people see the little ones. I mean, I saw a 5.5 foot one back in 2012, and that was quite interesting. Yeah, Dale, it was. I get out of my tent to use a tree, and there's one going, you know.
No way. Wow.
And my first reaction was like, nah. And then all this other high strangeness started, including the finding of a 9-inch track. So, yeah, it was it was quite an interesting trip. That area was just for a few years, and it seems to be that you talk about, you know, 2018 of all this stuff going on, but it seems to be very common that you'll have an area which is very active for these number of years and then go cold for a while.
Right.
So, what my advice to you is, just if it's quiet right now, eventually someday it's not going to be again. It's going to spin back up again, and just be ready for it. You know, as much as people, you know, we all do this, you know, and that's why it's tough for our armed forces when nothing was going on overseas. Is you get a level of complacency, and yeah, you know, I'm not going to go check my trail cams tonight. I'm not going to do, you know, I'm not going to set the recorders up because nothing's happened. And then next thing you know, know, oh man, why did I set the recorder up? Yeah. So my suggestion to you is, don't be complacent. Keep your gear rolling, you know, because on a bad night.
That was my mistake by not looking at what I had filmed. So that's look at what you're filming.
Yep. And on one note is, the more you use equipment, the more you get familiar with it, and you become an expert at using it. So that's the other plus. You know, if you have equipment, use it. Doesn't matter if stuff's going on or not. You know, it's like, why do I shoot FLIR videos? Why am I shooting drone videos? Why? Because it's just good practice. It's a lot of fun. And, you know, you just got to keep to it. I mean, you know, I'm doing a lot of stuff because I got a new video editor, which really kicks ass. And the reason why I'm making videos now is to explore, you know, what I can do with these different pieces of equipment on video, even before, you know, we start, you know, Expedition 21. Because I have a very busy year this year. Kentucky's on my list. I think Ohio is on my list. You know, chances are I'll be going down to Pennsylvania at some point. So yeah, it's going to be very busy for me, and all the equipment, and of course New York. So we got a lot of equipment in play this year, a lot of new equipment in play, and you know, it's that process of being familiar with your equipment, using it, learning the charge cycles, learning, you know, so that way I can put a battery in the device in the dark without having to worry about it. It's always good practice. So my advice, don't be complacent.
100%, brother.
So anyway, Dale, we're wrapping up the show. We got a few minutes left. Is there anything you want to tell our audience out there before you go?
No, not really. I really enjoyed the show and appreciate the opportunity to talk about some of my adventures. But the biggest thing I have learned from my research is to look at your footage and your film. Don't do like I do. Wait for 3 years to look at something and say, "Oh, look at that," and there, and at least look at it a little harder than you normally would, and you may catch something.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yep.
And that's a good point too. I'd like to remind everybody too, if you're out walking in the woods and you catch some movement out of the corner of your eye, then when you look over there, you don't see anything, turn your camera on.
Yeah.
Film that area and just kind of nonchalantly look away while the camera is pointing at the area that you saw some movement. But do that.
Good idea.
Yep. Suzanne, I will be in Coshocton County the middle of May. So for the Sasquatch Triangle Conference. So let me know if you're close by. Yeah, absolutely. We'll be
Ohio.
So anyway, Chris, you want to, Dale, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. It's been an honor to have you talk about your experiences and share your stuff with us. We always appreciate that. And Chris, you want to do your thing real quick?
Just want to remind everybody to check out Dale's channel. Just pop up in the search bar over YouTube, type in Dale Boswell. It'll bring up music videos and his Bigfoot videos. Again, I want to thank Dale for coming on tonight. Wonderful guest. Thank you so much, Dale.
That's why it says, keep up the great work, Dale.
Yeah. Want to thank all of our listeners. Thank you guys and all of our chatters. We appreciate you. It's so wonderful to have you every week. If it's the first time you're listening to us on YouTube, please hit the like, share, subscribe button. Leave a comment if you want to. It helps us in the search algorithm and maybe get a few more hits on the video.
That's right. And any of you YouTubers out there, hit that thumbs up button for us. Help us with the algorithm. It always helps. And of course, on behalf of me and everybody here at Squatch-D TV, we want to wish everybody a happy, healthy, and safe week. Remember, COVID's still out there, so be careful. Slowly, we're all getting vaccinated. I just have, today is the 21st, so I got a couple of weeks and less than 2 weeks, and I'm going to get my first shot. So, yay. But anyway, we'll be back here next Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, here on youtube.com/Steve Kulls, facebook.com/Steve Kulls, Steve.Kulls, or twitter.com/SquatchDET, SquatchDet. And of course, 9 p.m. Eastern is when we have our show. And of course, you can always catch the replays either on the YouTube channel, or if you're a podcast aficionado, like many of the folks are, you can hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Breaker Radio, Stitcher, all those as we do the audio replay. And we'll be doing that. That'll be uploaded at some point, either tonight or tomorrow morning. And so tomorrow afternoon, you can hear this new show. And of course, we'll keep you updated as our guest lineup hits. I apologize for the late announcements today, but it's been a busy weekend for me. And I got a lot of catching up with Chris to do. He's going to be pretty amazed what's been going on this last week. It's even got my head spinning a bit.
All right.
So anyway, folks, we'll catch you all here next week. God bless. Keep safe. And of course, keep on squatching.
Hey folks, you've been watching Squatch-D TV. Join us each week, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, for the latest on the Bigfoot mystery. As always, we thank you for being our loyal viewers and encourage all to subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Steve Kulls. As always, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless. And keep on squatching.